let's do like a TLDR. I'm just gonna do a TLDR of pure solo queue, no preference to anything. You can play everything equally playable. It's definitely like this, and then I would say like this. I'd say like this, and like this. Yeah, this seems reasonable to me. Okay, guys. To preface this tier list, I want to say that I'm not going to include any of like the AP playable AP champions bot lane, like maybe Seraphine. You know, Seraphine bot lane that's been running around. This is strictly marksman ADCs, and yeah, I don't really make tier lists, but you know, some people really enjoy them, and I was really bored. All right, so we're gonna go through these ADCs, and these are strictly based off of, you know, my personal preference / solo queue experience. Okay, don't take this in like a, don't look at this in like a competitive context, or like maybe you don't even think, maybe, you know, I think an ADC is really strong, you think it's really garbage. It's whatever, right? It's pretty much basically what I think. And you guys all know I have some interesting ideas on what I think is good and not good in the ADC role. So yeah, without further ado, I guess let's get started. Okay, I'm gonna try and explain why I think these champions belong in which tier. Okay, first off, we're just gonna remove everything that is in an ADC. Okay, so I don't know what you're doing here. I don't know what you're doing here. I don't know what you're doing here. Just toss this all out here. Okay, so let's begin this tier list with S tier. Okay, S tier means if you can play this champion and you can just play it like average, you're gonna win like games without trying. Like this is fucking free. It's like easy. Basically, it's easy to play. Okay, it's low skill, high reward, or maybe like medium skill, high reward. But basically, this shit is broken and you should play it. Okay, this is my opinion. Okay, so first in the S tier is Senna. Okay, and Senna, wow, you're like, wow, Senna, dude, I haven't seen Senna forever. Yeah, after this most recent patch, I think it's like 11.2, right? Senna with the Kraken Rageblade build is busted. I think it's turbo OP. I think it's actually like, I don't even play this champion and I'm winning games. Like literally first time Senna, I'm just winning. Like it's just so turbo brainless. Or maybe it's just because I'm, you know, it naturally makes sense to me playing Senna, but the way she does things in teamfights, her patterns in terms of dealing damage and being useful, like Q auto attack to suck a soul, right, would do damage in a teamfight, or just press W on a CC target, right, to chain CC, or maybe even W from a bush, or W at some dude running at you. Is really easy. I promise you. I mean, at first you're gonna miss a few W's at first, but it's really not hard to figure out how to Q auto and W on Senna, okay? And like her E, bro, it's really brainless. They're running at you, press E, dude. Or you want to run at them, press E. It's like a mini Saber ult, honestly, except it makes your teammates invisible. And her ulti has global presence, right? I admit her ulti is a little bit hard to use, but one of the reasons why Senna is so good is because I have tossed Senna's ulti out the window into space. It literally does nothing, and I can still carry fights. It's crazy. Like, excuse me, how can a champion? Dude, I've like fucked up like E and ulti, and I can still have a major impact in fights. Like, what is that, dude? Like, what is that? Like, imagine you're playing Ashe and you have no hawkshot or arrow. Like, you can't play the game, right? Senna is just fucking crazy. Okay, if you play Senna, go Kraken, go Rageblade, and then you go from there. Probably like a rapid fire kind of angle, maybe a Mortal Reminder or whatever. You'll figure it out as you go along. But basically, anytime you want to build an item, it's just, you know, what's more damage, right? Okay. And okay, so next in the tier list, in the S tier, the abuse fast for inflated elo gains tier is obviously Kalista. Okay, like this is just, guys, there is just no explanation. This is no explanation necessary. This shit is so broken, dude. It's actually so crazy. Actually, because Senna is now super insane, I actually think Kalista is below Senna. Okay, and the only reason for this is laning. I think Senna's laning, early, mid, and late game are all insane. He's strong at all stages of the game, right? Kaisa's early game is not bad by any means, but it's not like abuse tier until she gets upgraded Q. Right? I think Senna can just like press W and like have a really good time a lot of times, or just, you know, have fun sucking souls, just literally KDA player, just go 10 CS a minute and you're just carrying, right? Sometimes with Kalista, you get bodied in lane and you're depressed, right? So, but no, not always, right? And of course, you just always come backable in the mid game with ISO right? So Kaisa's also up here, and one of the main reasons why Kaisa is so ridiculous is that you just press Q, you just ISO Q them. It's literally zero skill. You just fucking ISO Q them on a backlane target, and it's default winning until like 30 minutes in the game, I guess. And then you have to actually kind of think and like, okay, maybe land W or land certain amount of auto attacks or use your Halo Blades proc. But until then, you literally Gale Force at them, you Q auto attack, proc passive, and they're fucking dead. It doesn't matter who it is, as long as it's like a backline target with no like Giga, Heal, Shield, or Hourglass, they're just gonna die. It's that stupid. Okay, you could be 0-5 and you're one-shotting backline. Congratulations, you're a 2021 champion. With Kaisa, the build is definitely just straight up rush your upgraded Q with Serrated Dirk and Noon Quiver and Pickaxe, not necessarily in that order, but you want all those three things first before anything else so that you can start becoming abuse tier. Okay, Kaisa needs her upgraded Q. The reason why Kaisa is good is because of her upgraded Q, okay? We're not really gonna get too deep into like tips on how to play these champs, but yeah, that's basically how you run it. And after that, you go like Runons or PD or whatever. Okay, you can look up pro builds for more in-depth builds. Okay, but that's basically the core of it. Okay, the core. Now, let's delve into the very good tier, the A tier. Okay, and keep in mind that I am a lot of these champions are not really seen in soloq, right? A lot of them are just like, Kaisa Jin, Samira, maybe Misfortune, maybe Senna, right? But this is going off my personal experience and my personal preference. Okay, so first in the very good tier, A tier, is Jin. It's interesting because this patch, I haven't seen a single Jin, which is kind of weird. Because he's kind of like, like I had like 100% presence in like the last patch, and the patch before that, he's crazy, right? But I think one of the reasons why Jin is not as abused here is the inability to do ridiculous things. And what I mean by ridiculous things is like, Kaisa, I'm literally just gonna ISO Q you, right? You're just dead, right? On command, I'm literally just gonna farm. I'm literally farming champions, right? On Senna, it's like I just press WQ auto attack and people are dying. Honestly, Senna kills people with auto attacks. It's crazy. Once you get 3 items, it's like, is this real? Right? Is this allowed? But with Jin, sometimes you are kind of stuck hitting Olaf and you don't have a good W angle. Your force shot does nothing when he's at full HP, and your ulti is not usable until they're low, right? And there are those situations where Jin is unable to fully utilize his kit. That's where I think he is not quite abused here, but he's still very good. I still think he's very good. There are many situations where you can just W to follow up teammates and they're just dead, or you Gale Force Q4 shot, right? Also, Gale Force did get nerfed, so his I think rating went down a little bit because Gale Force is pretty much the only mythic you can buy on him. So yeah, I think Jin is just 80. He's very good. He's solid. If you're at a loss of what to pick, you could probably pick Jin, but with the disclaimer that, could be upset in certain fights where you're unable to find good value with W, force shot, or ulti, okay? And in terms of build, it's just, Gale Force Collector into like Rapid, Gale Force Collector IE. Again, just look up these builds if you have no clue. I use u.gg into the pro build section. I would show you right now. Look at this. This is that easy, okay? You just look at champions. I don't even know. We're just clicking on any of these and you click on this pro builds. Boom. Boom. And you see, you just copy these builds, okay? It's that simple. It's that simple, okay? So next, in the very good tier, in the A tier, is Samira. And I know what you're thinking. You guys are like, okay, 400 years. Champ is just fucking absurd. Is giga broken. Just like, my God. And the reason why Samira is not S tier, she would have been S tier. She was S tier before they kind of nerfed her ulti a bunch and a bunch of other nerfs that I don't even remember right now. But the reason why she's not S tier, in my opinion, is that she requires more skill for a little bit less reward. So like, you can't mess up her E, right? You can't mess up her W. That's a big one. You have to figure out how to stack 6 style for her ulti so you can do damage. But rank 1 ulti is no longer as ridiculous as it used to be, so you actually have to know your damage for it. It's not brainless. so to speak. It's like you can make the argument it's brainless, you just flashing and press all your buttons, but it's not as brainless as Kalista, which is flashing and press one button too, right? So Samira is good, but not as insane, especially when played from behind. I think these champions ahead of her, Senna when played from behind, you press E, you press W, you press R, you're still good. You're still good to go. You can be 0-3 and it's comebackable. You're playing Kalista. You have upgraded Q, it's 0-5, it's fine as like an isolated backline target, right? And pop passive, especially if you're comping off teammate. With Jin, you can still press W. We're still good. A lot of these champions, we can still do something when behind. Samira cannot do jack when behind. Your job is, your kit is literally perma damage. And if you have no items and no money, you do no damage. Right? You can make the argument, oh shit, maybe you can like dash forward and block the Ashe here, or what's even being played nowadays? What important ultimate can you even block with Samira W right now? I can't even think of anything off the top of my head. But yeah, maybe you can make the argument you can be like, you can be utility Sivir shield with Samira. Yeah, but that's not happening, right? It's not likely. And if you fall behind, you're really upset. Okay, and the build is obviously going to be shield bow, collector, and then boots of your choice, ninja tabbies, berserkers, whatever. That's pretty much most of what they get. And you go infinity edge third, right? Into like Lord Doms, whatever. You get the idea, right? We're there to 400 years on their face or bust. And with the caveat that Samira's lane partner is going to be really important. You need to be able to lane, right? Like all in lane, like Leona, Alistar, Rel, whatever, right? If you were playing Samira with Sona and you guys are like trolling lane, you should just dodge. Like honestly, like I said, if you're not making money and getting ahead, you're literally losing with this champion. So if you're playing with a Sona, this is FF. That's like FF tier, okay? So don't do that. You need a good lane partner. With these other champs, you can get away with like some weird matchups or whatever. But with Samira, you definitely want like a Nautilus or something. So yeah, you can't just randomly pick it, I guess, in case you're supposed like a one trick stone or something. Okay. Now there are other champions that I'm going to put in the very good tier, but I do not have as much experience in them. Okay, and I cannot fully justify their place in the tier, except for the fact that there are players better than me who are playing them and are doing really well. Okay, so next up is Vayne. Okay, and Vayne, it might be a surprise to a lot of you people on here, because you're like, okay, when I play Vayne, I feel fucking useless, can't hit anyone. Yes, sure, this is true. There are some games where you will have some very coin flip results. You're hitting the front line and you're fucking smurfing on the enemy team, going invisible 10 times, or you're getting one shot trying to help at the first instance of the fight. Or even like in the middle of the fight, you're trying to tumble in, you're instantly dead. Or maybe you can't even find an opportunity to go in. This will happen with Vayne, right? Which is why she's not placed higher. She does not have the ability to perma be useful. That's really what this tier list is what champion is perma useful at all stages of the game. Anything S tier is perma useful at like all stages of the game. And then below that, there are some weaknesses. And one of Vayne's weaknesses is that sometimes she is not useful, especially if landing is so bad she has no items. Well, there's gonna be a problem, right? But when she shines, she shines. Okay, a lot of people consider her to be like a Samira counter, could be their Samira counter. The matchup is not one-sided. I think it's actually a skill matchup. Vayne versus Kalista, also consider the same thing. Although I definitely give Kalista and Samira the edge over Vayne. I just played Samira versus Vayne today. I didn't know what I was doing. I just pressed all my buttons and Vayne died, to be quite honest with you. I don't even know what I did. He tried to like condemn. I just fucking pressed W on accident. I blocked it. Okay, so yeah, definitely can be really strong in the right hands, but oftentimes is not viable to first pick, and has some laning issues, and I think that makes it not as good as it could be, right? So yeah, I guess the Vayne build currently is Kraken into Rageblade into like a Z item like PD, I guess, right? And you'll do a ton of damage. I think knowing your damage on Vayne is gonna be really important, because you can just in for the backline and it can be fine, right? But if you can't find a way to do damage on Vayne, it's gonna be a problem. Okay. Okay. Next in this tier list is probably going to be Kalista. Okay, and a lot of you guys are like, wait a minute, Kalista? right? I haven't seen Kalista in forever. Okay, and the reason being is that there are a lot of players in Korea, and not even just Korea, that are playing Kalista, okay, with good results. I think Kalista is kind of functioning in the same space as Samira. We're looking for Giga lane, like all in, needs the correct support niche, like Alistar, Leona, whatever, so we can have kill pressure on them, right? Kalista's not a scale to 40 minutes and hit them with 1Q and kill them and go. No, we are here to dominate the early mid game. And I think for that reason, Kalista can be good. But I have not played Kalista personally, and I haven't played against Kalista personally in solo queue, which, you know, to me seems like you would need to probably duel with someone or play with someone who has all-in potential. And in that case, why wouldn't you just play Samira, right? So I can't really comment too much about Kalista, but I believe the build on her would be like Shield Bow with Runons and Rageblade thrown in there somewhere. I personally would not pick Kalista. You have Samira, you have Kai'Sa, you have Senna, you have Kai'Sa, you have Samira. There are a lot of better picks you can pick that can all in that are better than Kalista, in my opinion, in terms of skill to reward ratio. Okay. Okay, now let's go next down the list. Okay, and we're just going to put we're going to kind of just go through however these. I'm gonna put Aphelios. Okay, so Aphelios, this is interesting. Okay, Aphelios is going to be, you know what? I'm actually gonna put him in the question mark tier. I don't think he's good. I actually don't think he's good. I think last patch, when he could use his Kraken with his red gun, and when Kai'Sa was picked every single game, I think Aphelios was looking like a nice pick against Kai'Sa, right? I think I was watching a double video, and it was saying how Aphelios' range can bully Kai'Sa, is a really good pick into Kai'Sa. You can, you know, it's kind of like a soft counter even, and especially with the Kraken Slayer interaction where his red gun is Kraken Slayer hella, it's like pretty good, right? But they have since nerfed his interaction with Kraken Slayer, and there are other picks being introduced to the abuse tier, like Senna, that makes this, Kai'Sa not as giga pick ban anymore, right? So Aphelios, I think, was kind of, in my opinion, looked to be only pickable against Kai'Sa, and now that that's no longer the case, and his Kraken Slayer interaction has been nerfed, I personally would not pick Aphelios. If you disagree, you probably, I mean, I can't really speak too much about Aphelios because I haven't really played him at all, nor have I really seen him in solo queue. But my suspicion is that if you want to just get free wins in solo queue, Aphelios is not the champion, right? There's not much you can abuse in terms of damage patterns or patterns in his kit in general that can net you free kills or free damage in the game. Like I don't know, maybe like obviously the white gun is still good, but it's not as like insane as it used to be. The gravity ulti is like okay, I guess, right? Like nothing really sticks out. Like I don't know how you're supposed to brute force wins like you would on like Senna and Kai'Sa, right? Probably not the worst, but definitely not the best. Okay. Next, we have Ashe. Now, the only reason Ashe is in the playable tier and not in the question mark tier, the only reason is because I saw Reckless play Ashe. Okay, and I tested Ashe a little bit, and this was the last patch. Okay, that's a disclaimer. It was the last patch, and you know he's playing Ashe here and there. And you go like Kraken Slayer into like Runons or something, right? Nothing too crazy. But the thing with Ashe, I think, is that you don't pick her so that you can like 400 years smurf on their face with damage, but rather the consistency of her slows, her volley, and how powerful her arrow can still be, right? And nowadays we do have some damage potential in Q if you can get items like Kraken, Runons, IE is my guess, right? And Hawkshot's obviously always going to be very good in solo queue. Just Hawkshot the jungle. Hawkshot the jungle camps, your jungle is going to be very happy, right? But Ashe is not going to be, I would not pick Ashe, first pick Ashe all the time, right? Unless it's like a safe first pick, comfort, whatever. It's just okay. right? You would definitely need to know how to land your ulti and have good hawk shots and know how much damage you do with Q. And that compared to anything else above her, I would say Ashe is like she's like between playable and very good. Okay, between A and B. Okay. Definitely I would go like Kraken Runon's kind of angle though, if I were to pick Ashe. And Ashe may be bumped up to very good if she can counter Senna. I saw for some reason there are stats that show that Ashe can be a counter to Senna. I actually have no idea why. I have not played the matchup. I can't come up with like the theory behind it. Like what was Ashe is Ashe gonna like slow Senna and then like not be able to hit her because Senna presses E? Like Senna's E is gonna counter Ashe's Q, right? If you're talking about Glacial Augment into Approach Velocity combo, Senna runs that too. If you're talking about Arrow, Senna's just gonna take cleanse, right? So I don't really see it. I personally don't see why Ashe would be considered super insane against, super favored against Senna, but I haven't played the matchup, so I can't really comment too much. But if Ashe is really good against Senna, he's definitely going to be more meta because I think Senna is turbo OP. Okay, Senna is turbo OP. Okay. Okay. Next on this list is Caitlyn. Now, this champion, if you don't main this champion, it's the question. It's just fucking don't pick this. Don't touch this champion with a 10-foot pole. Okay, it's garbage. It doesn't have a reliable way to do damage. There's not enough time in the game to scale into your 3 items, which is what? Gale Force into Collector into Rapid, Gale Force Storm Razor IE, Gale Force Storm Razor Rapid. Any of these, Gale Force Rapid IE, it's all garbage. It's all garbage, okay? And even when you get to those 3 items and you go for the headshot crit, bro, let me tell you, Senna can just auto attack without having to charge up headshot. She can auto Q and it's like just as effective, all right? And Senna can press W, also effective. Senna's E is like guaranteed to be useful. Senna ulti is guaranteed to be useful. Caitlyn, there's a lot of question marks in how she does her damage reliably. It's all skill shots. Everything's a fucking skill shot. Her Q's a skill shot. Her W's a skill shot. Her net's a skill shot. It's impossible to hit unless they're like literally running at you or CC'd. And her ulti, well, let me tell you, it's not a skill shot, but it can be blocked, which sucks. And it's not very useful. It's no guaranteed. It's like high skill, medium reward. That's like the worst. It's a high skill, low reward, high skill, medium reward, no good, no bueno. If you really are good at Caitlyn and you gap their ball in every fucking game and you come out of lane, 50 CS ahead, 0 deaths, right? Okay, it's playable, okay? But yeah, don't play that champion. Draven, garbage. Ezreal, let's see. I think Ezreal is, and it could be any of these. It actually could be any of these. Okay, there's a build that has come to my attention that people are playing in Korea that involves Essence Reaver first into Duskblade, and it actually looks really interesting. Apparently, you get like 50% cooldown reduction or something. Okay, so let's take a look. And you'll notice that this build is picking up traction. We got some like Essence first ideas, and I think if this build is good, Ezreal might be pickable again. Right? You haven't seen any Ezreal in quite a while, a few patches at least. So I think if this build proves to be, strong, I think Ezreal could be the playable tier or very good even, right? Honestly, it could be ahead of Vayne and Kalista. This is I think Ezreal's potential. I've not tested the build out. I will probably test it out sometime, but it definitely looks really interesting. And yeah, I think you might see more Ezreal in the future, but it's definitely not abuse tier for sure. I can't imagine how Ezreal would be abuse tier. Yeah, I think Ezreal could be very good, or it could be garbage. Okay, without the build, without the Essence Duskblade build, garbage. Don't pick it. Okay. Okay, Jinx, garbage. Don't pick it. Does nothing. Kog'Maw, garbage. Don't pick it. Does nothing. Okay, these champions, what they have in common: no reliable way, no reliable damage pattern or utility pattern or whatever will help them kill people. Okay, how do you kill people on Jinx? Traditionally it's to get items, use your rocket form and start AoEing shit people down with IE Runons, right? With sometimes Zap and ulti thrown in there. Now in the first 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the game where the game is usually decided, Jinx offers nothing. Her Zap is kind of meh. Her traps are unreliable. Her Q is like laughable. Her ulti is not bad, but it requires them to be low. So kind of pointless in a lot of situations where in solo queue you want to be the one, forcing stuff, making stuff happen so you can solo carry. Right? Imagine, would you rather have, Jinx ulti or Kalista ISO Q. Fuck it, dude. Give me the Kalista ISO Q. What the hell, right? It's so easy to use. You just pop it on the closest guy or just backline squishy. Yeah, I think Jinx is garbage. Kog'Maw, same reasons. Okay, no way to actually do stuff. Now, Lucian. This is interesting. I think if Lucian's in the question mark tier, he's actually ahead of the pack. I think he can be picked, but you know, his build, which is like Kraken Essence, is not as I feel like the power level of Lucian is not on the same as any of these other champions, right? Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. If you want a champion that can all in, obviously you pick any of these, right? You pick Kai'Sa, you pick Samira, Vayne, Kalista. These all function in that space of Lucian. If you want to ADC with a dash, I mean Kai'Sa has an E, Senna has an E, right? Vayne can, you know, maybe Vayne tumble and Kalista jump don't really count, but Samira has a dash, right? I mean, you know, just pick Samira. Why would you pick Lucian, right? I actually don't know why you'd pick Lucian. Maybe if you're a Lucian fanatic, also playable with Caitlyn, but yeah, he's kind of like not good. I would not play him. Now, this is an interesting one. Misfortune, okay, Misfortune. I can't tell. Maybe Misfortune's ahead of the pack in the playable, or maybe even in the very good section, right? But since I haven't personally seen any Misfortune, I'm actually going to put her in the B tier. And it's crazy, I know. Misfortune, you know, Misfortune, Jin, Kai'Sa seem to be the only pickable champions last patch, right? You go like Gale Force with press the attack, and you play safe, and you have your you can do stuff with press the attack in the mid game, right? You auto Q auto, and then like when push comes to shove in the team fight, you have a nice E ulti combo, right? But I think the reason why we don't see Misfortune more often is because outside of her auto Q auto pattern, which is not bad, don't get me wrong, but it's not, you know, fantastic. She's reliant on her E ulti combo, which in solo queue nowadays seems to be a little bit unreliable, right? If you've been playing solo queue, you know there are a lot of like dashes, proto belt, like Gale Force, a lot of people have stopwatch, whatever. People move at the speed of light, even like, you know, against champions like Volibear and Olaf, like yes, they're gonna be running at you. You might have a good E ulti into their team that's following up, but you'll notice in the first like 15-20 minutes, you're not really getting that dream scenario, right? You're kind of like getting run the fuck down, honestly, right? So it's not as flexible. I think Misfortune is not as flexible in terms of how she does her damage. It's just auto Q auto, and you need to find a good ulti, but sometimes the good ulti isn't there. Similar to kind of like Jin, where sometimes the ulti is not there, but at least Jin can fish for W for CC and go for a Q4 shot, whereas Misfortune can't, right? Misfortune has no like W equivalent in Jin. I guess she just like moves faster, I guess. I don't know. Not great, okay? Let me see. Let's see if there's any Misfortune plays. I think Misfortune's kind of fallen off the grid in terms of effectiveness. So, especially with the Gale Force nerfs, I would definitely say Misfortune is a poor man's Kai'Sa, Samira, whatever. It's just that I would just not pick it, to be quite honest. I would actually put Misfortune under Ashe. Crazy. I know. It's crazy. Sivir. Okay, I don't know how people win with this champ. Don't play this in solo queue. Sivir does her damage by throwing Q, right? And we saw that Reckless in the LEC won with Sivir, and we're like, holy shit, Sivir's playable, guys. Yeah, I don't know, guys. In my opinion, this is Garbo. Laning can be a fucking disaster. Her damage pattern can be a fucking disaster. Like if you miss Q, wow, FF, right? It's a skill shot. Of course, you can do a hella damage if it hits them on the Q out, if the boomerang out and back in. I mean, it's hella damage. You know, honestly, all in potential. It has all in potential. It has some Q flash mechanics, whatever. But I think her reliability and how she does her damage is not bad. It just doesn't do that much damage. You know, like. Obviously, I'm going to put her ahead of all these people. But I think that she just can't, you know, think about the first 15-20 minutes of the game. How can she influence these fights? She can press R to speed up her team. She can eat one ability with Spell Shield. And she can throw a Q. She can throw a boomerang. However many seconds. Maybe like, maybe copy an Ezreal build and start Essence first. I don't know. I had a student today who started Essence first. I laughed at it. But after seeing Ezreal start Essence first in some of these new builds, maybe Sivir Essence first. But yeah, it really seems like garbage tier to me in solo queue. Okay, this is all pure solo queue personal experience. My personal experience. So yeah, I think this is not a champion you want to pick if you want to win. I would pick Lucian over her, right? Like, I don't even know why would you pick her? Are you trying to get perma proud by shoving them in, right? Like honestly, in solo queue at the rank most of you guys are at, that's not even like a consideration, right? Like, oh, they picked like Heimer bot, I have to pick Sivir to counter push. That you guys are not going to run into that situation, right? So yeah, I think Sivir. I don't understand why you'd pick her. I don't even know who she'd beat on any of these ADCs above her. Like, it's crazy, right? So yeah, I would not pick her. Okay, Tristana. Okay, this is interesting. I really like the champion. I cannot, for the life of me, make her work in the mid game. She goes the bottom of playable, actually below Caitlyn. In fact, for me at least, right? I think if you don't play Caitlyn, obviously Caitlyn goes down here, right? Somewhere down here. You know, Draven, Jinx, Kog'Maw tier. Okay, but Tristana, either Halo Blades or PTA build. Obviously go like Kraken PD, right? Or maybe like Kraken Stormrazor, maybe like your Tristana mid, or you like going Halo Blades, you can go Kraken Stormrazor. But there's something wrong in the mid game. The laning can be good. Similar to these all-in champs with Kalista and Samira and Kaisa and Vayne. You have really good all-in potential. You just jump on them, you put the bomb, you're good to go. The problem comes from the mid game. Okay, the late game is obviously great. You just get 6 items, you just press Q and you auto attack the closest guy. You don't even need to like land bomb or anything. Just ulti to peer yourself, you're good. But the mid game, the 15 minute mark, the 20 minute mark, the fighting for soul, the fighting for enemy soul or our soul mark, how do you reliably output damage? Okay, and of course you're gonna think with Tristana you need to land a bomb. Okay, so on the frontline carries like Olaf and Hecarim, your bomb is garbage. It doesn't do enough damage, frankly speaking, right? It just doesn't do enough damage. And on the backline, you can't jump in on the backline in a 5v5 because they're just literally just gonna kill you. Right? The whole team is just gonna look at you and you're gonna die. Right? So there's a problem with Tristana's mid game in how she functions in these team fights. In skirmishes, it's probably a lot easier when you're like pushing side lane and like Samira shows up and you surprise her and land bomb on her, and then maybe you charge it up somehow while she's, you know, pressing W. Like, but like in these 3v3s, 4v4s, 5v5s where there's more people, she struggles a lot. In my opinion, I cannot get her to work. If you take Halo Blades, you can jump in and not jump on top of them and proc the bomb easily on a backline, but you might not kill them, and you run into the problem of not being able to kill the front line. So I think there's something about needing to take press the attack and making her mid game work, but I, for the life of me, can't figure it out. So if you can reliably get past her mid game, she would shoot up to very good. Okay, but there's something wrong with her mid game that I can't figure out how to solve. So he was really useless in the mid game, and thus is barely playable in my opinion. I would probably like next to Sivir, like I don't know, something like this. Okay, Twitch. Okay, if you're not right IRL, don't play it. It's just garbage. Like, how does he do damage? 6-stack expunge. Does that even do damage? No. Right? This is AD Twitch. AD Twitch belongs down here. AP Twitch, probably playable, has problems in laning phase, has the cask expunge, has the cask expunge pattern, but if you fall behind, it's useless. I saw that earlier today. I tried AP Twitch. If you fall behind, your cask expunge does nothing, and you're useless as AP Twitch. So I'll put him at the bottom. Okay, Twitch is down here for sure. Yeah, really bad. Okay, don't pick Twitch. Last but not least is Xayah. Okay, now this is interesting. I haven't played any Xayah. I barely played against any Xayah, but I know that I've heard that in LPL, some consider Xayah to be a counter pick to Kaisa. And apparently Xayah Rakan is probably still good. It's just that I have no clue where to put this champion. Okay. Probably the bottom of playable. I would guess it's probably ahead of these two champions. Okay. In fact, we'll put Xayah like even ahead of Misfortune. I think Xayah might be not bad. Obviously, the damage pattern is revolving around her root to auto attack E or ulti E flash or anything like that. And her second damage pattern is going to revolve around her W. If you didn't know, Xayah W is where the majority of her late game damage comes from, besides a massive root. Or sorry, I should even say not even her late game damage, her all-in damage. Right, you press W and go to town. Right, it's like the best it's like the best buff steroid for any ADC, I think. Better than like Tristana Q. Yeah, it's just really insane. Her Xayah W is really crazy. It's really good. I think the problem with Xayah is kind of her low range, because it's a kind of like League of One Shot. Honestly, you know, if you're getting in range to auto attack someone and you're playing against a Senna who's going Kraken Rage Blade Rapid, you are doomed, bro. You get Q autoed and half your health is gone, right? Or you get Gale Force W by Jhin, or Gale Force Q4 shot, or Samira blocks everything, right? So yeah, I think Xayah is not great, but she's probably playable. She has reliable damage patterns. She can be useful in skirmishes, right? The laning can be questionable depending on the matchup, especially with her low range. If you get the push, you're probably really happy. But Xayah is kind of like, if you really like Xayah, you can probably play her, right? But if you're really looking to climb and you have no preference for ADCs, I would not pick her. I would just pick something from these two tiers only. Okay, and yeah, that's about it. Maybe we have some adjustments to make here. Let's say like maybe we rate Vayne and Kalista a little bit too highly. Maybe we need to make some adjustments here. Let's see. Let's do like some final rankings. So like Ezreal could be like, you know, anywhere between like question mark and like good. Maybe like playable, right? Ezreal could be anywhere here. And then like Vayne is probably like, we'll actually put Vayne below Ashe. The more I think about it, the more I like this for solo queue, right? This Ashe is just more consistent. Maybe I'm crazy, bro. I'm honestly just probably crazy, but Ashe to me seems more consistent in solo queue than Kalista and Vayne. I think if things can go horribly wrong and you can't play from behind when you play these champs, but when you play Ashe and something goes wrong, it's probably fine, right? Maybe because of these reasons, maybe we can put like swap the order a little bit here. I'm not really sure about these four. These four I've seen some play, but I'm not sure how good they are. Is Tristana ahead of Caitlyn? Maybe not my Caitlyn. Okay, let's say like for solo queue. Let's do like for solo queue, okay? Solo queue tier list. Let's do something like this, okay? Pure solo queue. Let's do like a TLDR. I'm just gonna do a TLDR of pure solo queue, no preference to anything. You can play everything equally playable. It's definitely like this, and then I would say like this. I'd say like this, and like this. Yeah, this seems reasonable to me. If you need to climb as ADC, pick from these four, and you get good at them. These five even. Ashe is the no skill champ. Okay. Pick Ashe as a crush, I guess. Okay, I would say pick from these, and feel free to let me know in the comments whether you agree or disagree with any of these placements. I want to move Caitlyn. Man, if she's let's just put her in play. My Caitlyn would go here. My Caitlyn would go here. My Caitlyn would go here. Maybe like here. Anywhere between here, but not ahead of Ashe. Okay, let's just be generous. If I was being generous with my Caitlyn, I'll put her here. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much what I think. Maybe it's like back here. Maybe put her back here. Fuck this champ, actually. This is just personally what I think. It's just for fun. Okay, don't get salty or butthurt or whatever. If you don't agree with me, you feel free to disagree. I honestly don't know what I'm talking about, right? But yeah, let me know how your solo queue experiences have been. If you do want to see any like fun or random video ideas for me, hit me up. I was just like really bored, gonna go to bed, and I was like, you know what? Someone in chat was like, make a tier list, and I was like, fuck it, clickbait tier list reviews. Okay, so yeah, I will see you guys next time. That's it for me. Yeah, TLDR, play Senna, play Kaisa, and fuck the rest. Peace.